Welcome back to the Whiskey and Wisdom Podcast, everybody. I'm your co-host, Chris Kellum, and I'm with
Tyler, y'all.
And this week we have our special guest,
Amanda Wilcox.
That name sounds so familiar.
Probably definitely have seen her on Instagram because a lot of our friends and people we've brought on the podcast usually share a lot of her stuff.
Okay. I was like, there's many ways it could be familiar. I just assumed.
Probably Instagram.
Okay. That's where like half my life is lived.
Me too.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I am the one who's horrible at research. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I'm a nurse. My Instagram handle is the Uncensored Nurse, and I just thought it sounded cute, but it turns out that is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I moved to Wilmington in 2020 during COVID. I like to say that I fled my communist state and the snow. It was terrible.
New York.
Yep, upstate New York. So we were at a place where I had left my nursing career. My husband was sort of working remotely. My daughter wasn't in kindergarten yet. She was in preschool, but she was kicked out of preschool because we both weren't essential workers. So we were all home staring at our walls, and we moved to Wilmington. We were like, my husband's best friend from high school has lived here forever. So we've been coming down here for like 10 years. Yeah. So we were like, all right, we're just going to bounce. We called him up. We're like, we're on our way. We'll be there in 12 hours. He was like, are you really coming? We're like, yeah, we're going to move there too. So we drove down, we bought a house, sold our house all within like a 3-hour time span.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, all right, we're moving to Wilmington now. Here we are.
Let's go.
And so I feel like I lived a lot of my life online in the beginning because it was during COVID. Everything was weird,
right.
Whatever. So I really started building on Facebook beforehand. And a couple years ago, I was like, I'm going to really dig into this Instagram thing. I think I could make it happen. And I grew to like 200,000 followers in like 6 weeks.
Wow.
I had a post go viral. It was me looking at sourdough bread, ironically enough.
For the listeners, we talked a lot about sourdough before we started the podcast.
So I was like, all right, well, I guess this is where my audience is. So I've been digging in on Instagram. I do education and marketing for an online wellness company. That's my main gig. And we also we don't like to be bored, so we also have a bunch of real estate rental properties and Airbnbs, and I'm roped into doing that with my husband because we got to do everything together.
Yep.
So
sounds right.
That's pretty much it right now.
So, as the uncensored nurse, do you cuss? Or is it
Oh, yeah. I have to really pull it in.
Okay.
I'm like, less F-bombs today is on a regular basis. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, swear. And I think, too, the big thing is
Swear words.
I try to be more professional, but it's my light. I don't know. My mom is always like, your favorite word has always been the F word ever since you were little. It came from me. Sorry.
So I was joking with people. Well, not really joking. We had a whole deep conversation the other day about the difference between like a swear word and a curse. And because me, I just say fuck and shit all the time.
Same.
And everyone's like, oh, that's a bad word. And I'm like, I'm just using it as like an adjective. Versus when you curse somebody, you're actually using it. So like when I say arse, I'm like, that's really the same thing as saying ass. Or when someone's like crap, I'm like, I know what you wanted to say. Yeah. It's the same thing.
It's like, son of a biscuit.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you're trying to not do. I try to swear less because I have little ears at home, and everyone's always like, oh, I said a swear in front of your daughter. I'm like, she's heard worse from me.
Right.
Like, it's fine. But I did hear that people who swear are smarter. I don't know where I saw that study, but I saw it somewhere. Oh. So we're just smarter.
I'm down for it. Yeah. All I can think of, like, when people, like, don't cuss is those Orbit commercials.
Oh, yeah.
You lent liquor. I wish there's a point we'll get to on editing the podcast where it'll just have, like, these random edits of, like, when Tyler gets to it, and he'll just drop in, like, clicks.
Yeah.
One day.
One of these days.
Not today.
Not anytime soon, but
one of
these days.
I try. And really, so what ended up happening with the Uncensored Nurse was and it started on Facebook, and then I was like, I'm going to go over to Instagram too. I'll go fish in this pond. This looks fun. And a lot younger people are on Instagram. I got most of my clientele on Facebook are like, could be my grandma type
Yeah.
of age,
right.
which is fine. I'm like, y'all need medical information too. It's fine.
Right.
But I was never thrown in Facebook jail or Instagram jail for anything that I talk about ever. I just kept getting more eyeballs on my account.
Huh.
And I'm like, apparently I can do whatever I want. I'm going to run with it.
So you're probably one of the very few about what you're very outspoken about that did not get thrown in.
So I did have a Facebook jail sentence once, and it like connected to Instagram, and it was because in 2021 I posted a picture of Hunter Biden in his underwear with a scarf on that said, "My dad said you can't come out and play unless you got your vaccine."
And that's what you got in trouble for?
And that's what I got in trouble for. Of all the things, I was like, really? And it was this past summer, so I posted it in 2021.
Yeah.
And it didn't catch up until this summer. And they're like, you can't go live. And I'm like, I don't anyway, so. It's like when you ground your kid and it's something that they don't even care about.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's
yeah,
like-
I don't go live anyway. So.
Right.
You got to stay in your room. Cool. I didn't want to come out.
Yeah, I wanted to be here.
Yeah. No.
Well, I do have a question from your new friend Lee, who wanted me
okay.
to ask questions to you too, because I guess you guys didn't talk long enough at the coffee shop.
We jittered ourselves out of Ibis. We were like, drank so much caffeine. I'm like, we need to eat something.
They have food there.
I know. We just
That's
didn't. We were just drinking coffee and talking conspiracy theories, and it just never ended.
Yep. But what her question is what originally opened your eyes to the world of functional medicine?
So it was kind of a long process, but so I'm a nurse and I have been trained. I know your wife's a nurse too, and we're trained in a very specific way. And I never looked at things from a functional standpoint beforehand because I was basically indoctrinated into this medical system. Right. My mom's a nurse. She's now a nurse practitioner, but she went to nursing school when I was in kindergarten. So I've always been in the healthcare field my whole life. And I remember it was 2018, beginning of 2019. My daughter was sick all the time, like had a fever, couldn't go to daycare every other week. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what? I'm a nurse. Why can't I figure out why my kid is sick? And I was also having some health problems. I was having what I thought was anxiety. I was waking up with like, you know when you wake up and you're late and you're like, oh no, I'm late.
Yeah.
Oh, and that like panic in your chest. So that's the only thing I can describe it to. And I'm like, this must be what anxiety is.
Okay.
I've never had anxiety, but this must be what it is. Yeah. So I find this functional doctor that one of my friends from high school had gone to, and I thought he was a chiropractor. He is a chiropractor, but that's not what people go to see him for. He will adjust your back, and this was up in New York. And my best friend went there because she was having some back pain, and she left with a stage 1 kidney failure diagnosis.
Oh, wow.
And he basically was like, you can go on dialysis eventually, or do this protocol. And she was like, I'm 32 years old. Like, we are not
doing dialysis.
We are not going down this road. So I went to go see this doctor because I'm like, well, you saw him, so I guess I'll go see him too. So it's called nutritional response testing. And it's all of my nursing colleagues call it like magic arm doctor stuff because it's weird. They use your autonomic nervous system and it's like a feedback loop. So they can tell what's wrong with you based on that. Yeah. So I go there and he's like, you have parasites and they're in your heart and they're on your adrenal glands. And also your adrenal glands don't work. And I'm like,
wow.
I need those.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's important.
So your adrenal glands help with all of you, like burnout and your energy and that type of stuff. So when you're adrenaline. So you get what's called, it's not a technical diagnosis, but people call it adrenal fatigue. And it's basically your adrenal glands are tired because you've been burning the candle on both ends, working overnight shifts, which is what I was doing, drinking too much caffeine, not relaxing, not taking care of yourself. So then that causes your cortisol levels to go super sky high because your cortisol system is like, hi, you're not working, so we're going to give you extra over here. And I think now I'm in a point where my cortisol was like, I can't help you anymore. My cortisol levels are super low right now. So I'm like, okay, I've done broke it. So I go to see this doctor, and he gave me answers to everything that a regular doctor never would. He also sat in the office with me for 45 minutes after he was like, okay, I went through all your stuff. Here's all your paperwork. Here's your protocol. What questions do you have? What? And I was like, what is this? Who is this guy? He just has all this time to hang out with me and answer all my questions. Like, you go to a regular doctor and they're like, hi, you're alive. Okay, here's an antibiotic. Here's a prescription. So that was the first real eye-opening piece for me. I was like, okay, this actually worked. And his protocols worked.
Right.
He told me what to do, and I am a student and I'm very coachable. And I was like, okay. He said I had to get rid of all of the toxic products in my house. And here's me. I'm like, I don't do drugs. Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, all your cleaners. I'm like, weird. I'm like, but I bought them at the grocery store. Like, they must be fine. They sell them at the store. He's like, nope, they're terrible for you. I'm like, okay. So then I started down that rabbit hole, but I switched out all my cleaners. And within 30 days, my daughter's symptoms were better.
Oh, wow.
So that was the functional medicine piece. And I had already had a lot of time where I had been stewing over the medical system and its brokenness anyway. So this was a path that made sense to me because I was just telling the story the other day. I used to do home infusion, and I had a patient who opened my eyes to the series called The Truth About Cancer. So I watched that. It was a YouTube series back in probably 2012, 2011.
Oh, gee.
Like, really a long time ago. And I was like, I think I'm killing people with this chemo. This is a problem. But then I had to dissociate because that was my job. I was like, well, I can't go get a new job today because I had a epiphany. So I knew at that point in like 2012-ish that I needed out of nursing. And I was already kind of not trusting and digging things up and looking. And then I found this whole functional world, and I was like, oh, this makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Common sense makes sense with your body instead of like, let's just put
other things in here.
Chemicals and see what happens.
I just laugh because like we're full circle. Everyone's like functional medicine. I'm like, isn't it the same stuff that like the OG natives were like? Yeah, we just eat the food from where we're from. Yeah. You know, don't drink too much. If you're gonna smoke dope, make sure it's homegrown.
Yeah, like don't get it, maybe laced with something. You don't know what it is. Like, don't have chemicals. Like, we're coming full circle back to, and it's what makes sense. But I think too, a lot of people don't know people don't know that bleach is terrible for your lungs from what makes sense standpoint. You're like, it hurts me when I breathe it in.
Right. Yeah, it must be bad.
But everybody's conditioned that you got to use bleach to clean your house.
Yeah.
Or it's not sanitary. It's not sanitized. Yeah. And I lived that way before. Yeah. You know what's funny too? When I got rid of all my cleaners and I switched them all out, I had them in a big box in my basement because I didn't know what to do with them. The garbage people wouldn't take it.
No.
Oh, really?
Because they said it was hazardous waste.
You can't put them all together.
I was like, I clean my house with this stuff. What are you talking about? Hazardous waste. Yeah. I had to have it removed, disposed of by a team. Because
once they start mixing, then the chemicals get way worse.
Yeah.
I found out about bleach. What? Me and my wife were living together, and we had some reason there was mold in our spare bathroom. And every time we'd be like, oh, use some bleach and clean it. And it would just keep coming back. And I had to do research. And they're like, yeah, bleach just gets the dirt off. But the mold is still there.
The mold is still there.
You have to use, I can't remember what we were using. Seems like vinegar.
Vinegar does work.
Yeah.
And a lot of people switch from when they realize oh, we're not going to clean with chemicals. We're going to clean with vinegar. And I'm like, I don't want my house smelling like a pickle.
Yeah.
I can't. It's so gross. I don't like it.
Me either.
Just open your windows.
I know, but then everything smells like a pickle. I just can't get over it. I'm like, I'm not a pickle cleaner.
My mom tried to have us do that for a while too, and I was like, I get it. I know this is probably the best way, health-wise. I just can't get over it. So give me the next one in between.
Well, yes, and that's where I live. I live in the balance of normal life.
So what do you use?
Well, I use products from the wellness store, which is my full-time job. It's on the computer.
The way you said it, I was like, oh, it's a storefront here in Wilmington.
It's an online wellness store, and I can give you the details. It's where I buy all of my stuff from. But they were greener, cleaner, healthier, environmentally conscious back before it was cool.
Oh, cool.
And all their stuff works super well, and it smells nice.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, it smells like vanilla or lavender.
I mean, we're trying to get away, like, we're those crunchy people. We're not using Target anymore.
Yeah, me too.
And my wife was like, where am I supposed to get all my cleaning supplies?
Well,
and
you
I'm
sent
like,
her my way. I will help her out.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you're like, well, where? So we went to Whole Foods first. And then we left our cart because I was like, I can't afford this.
Right.
Whole Foods is so expensive.
This is so expensive.
And they're owned by Amazon, so.
Yeah, it's
Which
like
is
the whole
ironic
thing.
too. Yeah, it's a weird combination. But that kind of what you were saying before, though, and what Chris was saying is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on. One, because my wife was telling me for a while to have you on. And
I've been talking to her for a while.
And I was like, oh, wait, it's all coming together now. It just took a while to figure it all out. And then Christina was talking about you as well, too. And then you posted something about the balance of like, okay, you don't have to be like full-fledged, like out on your own, like homestead, as much as that like would be awesome too. But like, you don't have to do that. You can also kind of in between. And actually there's a situation, I think Jennifer even talked to you about the situation my family's going through. But sometimes you do need a little bit of Western medicine to help get you into a place where you can start using functional again.
Yeah.
And so I think that was really important. And you mentioned something about that as well too.
Yeah, because there is a place for pharmaceuticals. I'll be completely honest. I'm on day 4 of an antibiotic for a sinus infection right now because I'm like, I have tried to do this the right way. Honey and onions are not doing it for me. I can't breathe. I'm like, wave the white flag.
You should put the garlic in there too.
Oh, I tried everything. I'm like living on a prayer. I'm like, my husband is so sick of me. He's like, are you better yet? I'm like, I'm going to get an antibiotic because I can't even stand myself anymore. But it's not my first turn anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of fevers anymore where it's like, oh, and a lot of my nursing career was on an orthopedic floor. Mm-hmm. So we were looking at fevers very differently because when you have a brand new joint in your knee or your hip, you cannot have a fever because it's gonna be bad. You're gonna have an infection is brewing. There's something wrong. Okay. So I have always been trained fever at 100.4 Tylenol. That was always my number. So now I'm like, look at your kid. Are they hot? Yeah. They probably need help. Put them in the hot tub.
Yep.
Because your body. Here, I see your confusion, and I'll tell you why that is. So when you have a fever, your body is trying to generate heat in your body to cook out the germ.
Okay.
So if your fever is really high, your body's like, I really need to get this shit out. I'm going to cook high. So you
need to get hotter.
If you get into a hot bath, it helps your body because your body doesn't have to work so hard to increase your temperature.
I got you.
So, and even my 9-year-old, she's like, the poor kid. she's been inundated in this lifestyle for so long that she's like, I don't feel good, Mom. Can you draw me a hot Epsom salt bath? And I'm like, yeah.
That's awesome.
I can. She's like, no bread because it turns into sugar. I'm like, yes. I have taught you right.
Sorry, it just made me laugh. I saw this thing the other day on Instagram, and it was like, I tried to take an oatmeal bath, and it didn't work. And they literally just bought like Quakers and put it in their bathtub. And that to me is 100% what I always assumed. And they're like, take an oatmeal bath because you have like eczema or like something on your skin. Yeah, I didn't know there was like actual legit healthy oatmeal.
Yeah, kind of what you were saying too is funny because I got something new from the grocery store for my kids or something to eat, like a snack. And Roman, my 4-year-old, goes, did you read the ingredients on that?
Is there red dye 40 in this?
I was like, yes, I have read the ingredients. I bought it before. Don't question me.
She'll pick out. We go to the movies a lot, and I always let her get candy, except she learned. She goes, you know what we should do, Mom? We should go to the Dollar Tree and get candy at the Dollar Tree because she saw it was $1. And I was like, I like where your head's at, girl. Yes. Yeah. But she will pick out the stuff. She's like, can I have the red M&Ms? I'm like, yes, we're at the like you don't have to be looking for the red M&Ms in the movie theater in the dark. Like that's not the level that I'm at. I'm like, just don't do it every day.
Right. Yeah.
stay away from it. And I think too, if we teach adults too, once you start paying attention to your body and you're in tune to what's going on, but especially kids, she knows how she feels when she has dyes.
Yep.
She's like, my brain won't turn off. I'm like, yeah, that's because you had some Twizzlers.
I like grew up. I have no idea how old you are, but I grew up and we had like a kid in church, mind you, and they gave us snacks and like, this kid cannot have this dye. And I was like, really? You're the reason why I can't have Kool-Aid today? I'm so mad at you. And like all of my friends, like Tyler drinks caffeine like it's water.
Me too.
I don't.
Probably why my adrenals don't work.
Right.
I don't drink caffeine whatsoever.
Oh, you're a unicorn.
So when I do drink it, then I'm like, please forgive me. I don't know what I'm doing today. I love Ghost. It's really great flavors. But I could drink like 2 sips out of it, and everyone's like, Chris, are you okay?
My best friend is like that. I could drink, I think it's because I worked nights for so long. I could drink a pot of coffee and go to bed. I'm getting better. My body's like, no caffeine. This works better for you. But I'm the exact opposite. I'm immune. I'm so immune to
I did.
caffeine.
So December, a bunch of our friends did decaf December. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it because I got bullied into it. But it made a complete difference. And I drink almost like no caffeine now, except on recording days. I'll drink like 6 coffees. But other than recording days, I drink almost nothing now.
I just and I could drink decaf in the morning. I just like coffee.
That's how I am.
I like I don't know, it's like ritualistic.
So then why don't you do like matcha?
I don't like matcha. It tastes like grass.
Mm-hmm.
You don't drink just like regular.
And I don't like tea.
You don't like morning tea?
No. I like thick black coffee with creamer in it. Creamy. And I use my little frother.
Yep.
I'm just going to.
I was going to say, you have Chris going down a whole other rabbit hole way to go.
Oh, boy. That's always, I always say things and then I'm like, I shouldn't have said that.
We've been at this all day. So
I was going to say,
I've been really
what did
good.
we start with?
So good. So wait, when did you get a frother? I am quite literally all over the world.
Oh, I've had a frother for probably 3 years.
Like the hand one, not the one?
The hand one. But I will tell you, I got a fancy one, and you can't, it's aggressive. You can't. I know how to use it, but you got to get a pressure-sensitive one, so you can just and take it off. Mine just goes full bore. Anytime everybody uses it at my house, there's coffee everywhere. I'm like, let me froth your coffee for you. I know how to use it. It's like a mock engine.
Yeah, we had like a fancy one for Christmas where like she can pour her milk in.
Oh, and it heats the milk up?
And it heats it up and it spins, and apparently you're supposed to take like one of the things off so it doesn't like throw everything. Oh. Like, because there's a thing on the inside, you just pull it out and it still stirs it, but it doesn't like whip it. And then we got her a frother because she takes greens every morning.
Oh, yeah.
She, as in my wife. Amazing. Emily, love you. But
I like a frother. I use it for everything.
I was like, why?
Like powder stuff. I don't know. It's just more effective than a spoon.
Yeah.
I mean, I just pour everything into a bottle and go.
Yeah, that works too.
Apparently, I'm not allowed.
I only do it for my coffee, though.
I can't drink plastics, apparently.
Yeah. I'm working on getting rid of my plastics in my house.
But yeah, we had
it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
yes,
we had someone on the podcast a couple weeks ago. He's starting up in Topsail and then hopefully work his way down here. But instead of having like a milkman come to your house and drop off milk, he's dropping off water in glass bottles.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. And he also let me know that aluminum also has plastics on the inside of it too. So I was very upset to know about that because I thought I was doing something better in my life.
It's a whole thing. Glass is superior to everything, and I'm trying. I actually, in that post I made about not being crunchy, I'm like, I just need a better coffee situation because the only thing I use my microwave for is to heat up my coffee 17 times a day.
Yep.
I need a better plan. Maybe an insulated mug. I could start there.
True.
One of the women I work with, she has a coffee mug that you charge it and then it works for like a week, but it keeps it warm the whole day.
Oh.
He'll find the link and send it to
That
you.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
My husband just likes, he will take his coffee out of the coffee pot and then put it in the microwave because he wants it like to burn his soul.
wow.
And I'm like, I haven't even had a sip of it's too hot and you're heating it up more. I don't know about you. You have problems with the coffee. It's too hot. But I don't like it cold. Like it gets cold, then I'm like, no, I'm going to add ice. Now I'm on to iced coffee.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking about things that
don't make sense.
Yeah. For a lot of our listeners who may not be, I'm just kidding. A lot of our listeners probably are, because a lot of our best episodes are health episodes. But if anyone's listening that has not started down like a wellness journey, what's one of the first things that they can start that's not going to completely like throw them through a loop?
Oh, just read ingredients. That's the first place. That's where I started. So when Reagan was little, we used to have, you know, those little like Mio water, little squirty things. Yeah. So we used to, I was just talking about this the other day and I thought it was so funny. We used to call it flavoring. Yeah. Water flavoring. Yeah. Except Reagan had a really bad speech impediment when she was little and she couldn't pronounce like 80% of the alphabet. So she used to call it ween. Like flavor ween.
Okay. I was like...
She's like, Mom, whatever happened to that ween stuff? I'm like, oh boy, that is some toxic trash garbage that I was feeding you at 2 because I thought it was better than juice. Right. And it had peg in it and red, who the heck, whatever dye. Yeah. Red, blue, green, all of them. And once I realized that, I'm like, oh, okay, ingredients. I'm going to start looking at ingredients. And my big thing was, and I think this is the place that people can start really easy, if you don't recognize an ingredient, don't buy it.
Mm-hmm. See, that's not fair for like scientists and like smart people who went to like school.
That's true. But if you are like, maybe I shouldn't eat that chemical compound, don't eat it.
Yeah, odds are if you're a scientist, you know
if
what
you're
that
scientist,
means.
That's a very fringe minority of the people.
And then there's me, and I'm like, I can guess what this is. I know that word.
Yeah, and so... Back before I was really into health and fitness, I was a health and fitness coach with a workout company that doesn't really exist anymore. And I remember I would tell people, just shop at the outskirts of the grocery store. That's the other easiest way to do it. Mm-hmm. All the middle aisles, guess what it is? Not food.
Yeah, all processed food.
But I did go home from Publix with 2 bags of Lay's today, so... balance.
But what you're saying is that ice cream's on the outside.
It isn't. It's in the
technically
middle.
not.
No.
Yeah.
Depends on the place you go to.
That's true.
Because I go to Lowe's Food,
and
when I walk to the left, it's right there on the edge.
It is. That's true. Well, yeah, get some ice cream. Live your life.
Right.
Just, but then it goes back to ingredient reading.
True. I just go to Boombalotti's for ice cream, to be completely honest.
It's the high fructose corn syrup that gets me. My mom's just learning ingredient reading, and she's like, every single ice cream thing.
Has it.
She's like, they all have high fructose corn syrup. I'm like, welcome to planet Earth. Yes.
Yep.
Because it's cheap, but it tastes so good.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other thing that was in MS? Is it MSGs? Whatever's in all the Chinese food.
Yeah, MSGs. Monosodium glycanate.
Glycanate, I think it is.
Glycanate, I think it is. MSG.
It's what makes it taste delicious.
It is. Mm-hmm.
I've legit didn't realize that, and then I went to a place that didn't use it, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back.
Yeah, we just cook. I do love going out to eat, and I am going on 5-year bender of restaurants in Wilmington that I've never been to. Guess what? I still haven't been to them all, and I've been here for 5 years. There's so many restaurants.
There's so many though.
There's so many, and I want to eat at them all.
Okay, but finish your statement.
So I started like Chinese food. We'll cook Chinese food at home. Mm-hmm. And a fun way to make Chinese food taste good at home is to use coconut aminos instead of soy sauce. Yep. And it's better.
I actually like coconut aminos more than soy sauce because soy sauce is just so salty to me.
It's sweeter and it's thicker. Matt he cooks chicken thighs on the Blackstone grill with the coconut aminos, and it's almost like bourbon chicken. Mm-hmm. So good.
All I can think of when I think of aminos is just like the stuff I put into my drinks.
Oh yeah, this is it's like a soy sauce alternative, but it's kind of sweet. Oh,
interesting.
It's good. We put it on rice.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you're like, I make Chinese food at home, I just picture being a kid. We got McDonald's at home.
We do. I'm turning into that mom. But I got a wok, and I'm very excited to use it. Because a wok makes a big difference when you cook.
Because of how the heat spreads out.
And I'm fired from buying kitchen gadgets and cups because my cabinets are full. So
My wife too. I get it.
so I bought this wok because it was in the Isle of Shame at Aldi's for $12, and I was like, "Well, you're going home with me. I don't care what happens." And I had to hang it above my dryer in my laundry room because I have no space for it.
So
because it's huge.
have you seen this thing? Just because you're on social media, where people have swapped where they put their stuff in their house. So like instead of having your food in a pantry, you pull that and you put it in your cabinets.
That's actually really smart.
And then you take your stuff that's in your cabinets and put it in your pantry. One, you can see all your stuff a little bit easier. And then you can also be like, I don't ever use that. Toss it. But your food, because you see it, you have to constantly open it. And you're like, okay, I haven't eaten that in a while. So you can take that out of your regimen and
I really am a fan. Matt's going to be really mad when he comes.
I'm like, but it also
and all my cabinets are different.
But it also allows you to, like, your pots and pans, like, I can't stack them typically in my little cabinet. So if you put them on a shelf, you got more space to, like, spread them out.
And my pantry is stupid, so I'm a fan of this. It's skinny and deep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like going on an adventure to find. I'm like, I know I have rice in here somewhere.
Yeah. Sorry.
And, okay. I'll file that away.
Sorry. Just a random thought.
I like it.
Random places, because he talks health, because that's where Tyler is. If you can't tell, between the two of us, I'm the tall, fat one. He's the short, skinny one. Yes, I am. So restaurants in Wilmington that you've tried. Have you tried any new ones this year?
I'm trying to think of new.
Or new to you.
New to me.
Yeah. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, and there's still plenty of restaurants I've never been to.
And then the food trucks get me, too. Because those count. I'm chasing a food truck. It's the garbage plate food truck.
Yeah.
I've heard of
Port City Plates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I went to college there. And I know what a garbage plate is. I've eaten them.
Yeah.
And they seem very authentic, and I want to go there. But I'm always like, where are you today? Oh, you're in Topsail. I'm not going there today.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm always on the hunt for this Port City place.
Don't worry. I'm the same way.
Truck.
I told my wife, I'm like, hey, I want to go to Topsail to go get some liquor. And she's like,
You know, they have that in this town.
well, I like Hidden Chips.
Yeah, Hidden Chips is
and
awesome.
up there. And it was a Sunday, so I can't, like, buy.
Oh.
Like, I'm off on Sundays usually. And if I want to get it, I got to drive up there. But then she was like, yeah, babe, you realize it's like 2 hours of your day that's gone. And I don't want to sit in a car for 2 hours. I'm like, okay.
No. Valid.
So I understand why you don't want to drive to Topsail for a food truck.
I'm like, no, we're not. But I'm obsessed with Yosaki right now. I can't get enough of it. Okay. They used to have on their menu a crab rangoon flatbread, and it's gone, and I'm sad about it.
Oh, that does sound good.
I bet you could ask them though. I feel like, you know those like hidden menu things where you're like, you used to have this, you still have all the ingredients.
Right.
Can you make this for me?
So Yosaki's your favorite sushi joint?
Yes. Okay. I've tried them all. I think I've tried every sushi place that doesn't look sketchy.
Okay.
I'll say
Makes
that.
sense.
What's your opinion of bento box?
I also really like bento box.
They're two very different.
It's different. I like bento box because it's close to my house, and it's not a whole downtown thing.
Yes.
Going downtown's a thing if you don't live there. So I like the bento box, and I always sit at the sushi bar, and whoever the manager is always cutting fish and very talkative and nice. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm on the fence.
They have good food too.
I always just sit at the bar.
Yeah.
Mostly because I tend to get food and things faster if I'm sitting at the bar.
Yeah. I like to sit at the bar as well.
It's kind of how this podcast got started. We just like talking to people randomly.
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, you know what? We could put this on podcast form.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah. I'm a fan. I don't know. I like all the food. I'm like all of it. Every place I've been, I really like all of it. Zeke's on Wrightsville Beach is also... Oh, it's so good.
Haven't been in a while, but it is really good.
There's always a line out the door. You have to sweat to death and wait for your food, but it's so worth it. Those little acai bowls. And they have a good poke bowl, too.
Never had a poke bowl.
At all?
Good.
No.
Oh.
Like ever?
Yeah, no.
okay, this is when I learned about a poke bowl, I was like,
I know what they are.
This is how I realized what it was, though. I'm like, it's sushi, but in a burrito bowl.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I mean, it makes sense.
It's so good.
But it's same like with what's the other bowls that are big soups and they usually throw a big egg in them?
Oh, ramen.
Yeah, never had that either.
Yeah, I've only had ramen noodles.
So
Top ramen.
High five.
Chris is having one hell of an episode. He got on food and he stayed on.
You can tell we're hungry.
This is if you've listened to the podcast, most of you guys have. I go down food rabbit holes usually on episode 3 because I'm hungry.
Because you're getting hungry. I get it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or 4. If you let me.
We were able to hold off on 3 because
he held off because it was hardcore liquor.
yeah.
But I'm gonna bring it back around.
Okay.
Talking about functional medicine.
Yeah. That's how we got here. Okay.
Yes. So we talked about like what do people do to eat right? First step. But to find the original help, where do they go? Like, is everybody a functional doctor? Like, how would you suggest anyways?
There is, and I can give you guys the link. So if you wanted to put it in the show notes for people, but there's a place, it's called, I'm going to go on my soapbox. The Freddie Yule Hahn method is the nutrition response testing method that I have vetted, used multiple doctors that have used it. And I'm always like, okay, if you use this, you're not a quack. Because there's plenty of wild and crazy things out there. But you have to find someone that you trust and then also go see them and don't be afraid to be like, this is not a fit.
Okay.
You're not, because people are so accustomed to just, they pick a doctor, they go to the doctor, that doctor is now their doctor, and they're like, but I don't really like them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always an advocate for figure out who the best person in your area is for whatever problem that you have.
Okay.
And go doctor shopping and do some research. Like open up ChatGPT and be like, teach me some things so I sound smart.
Yep. Have you heard of Upper Health?
Yes. I'm actually meeting with Sarah on Tuesday.
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know Sarah really well. She's been on the podcast a few times and everything,
I love her.
too. And I think what she's doing is really smart because she's kind of making it easy to do exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? Go talk to one of the upper RNs that they have there. They'll find out kind of what's going on and kind of help lead you to the right specialist for what you need. Because, there's a bunch of functional practitioners out there, but some of them focus on different things.
Yeah.
So that's always really important too. So if you're having issues with hormones, you probably don't want to go to someone else who's more of a nutritionist or something like that.
Right.
For different aspects. But
I wanted to know if you were going to be like Wilmington Functional Med.
Also that too.
Is that a... Yes.
Yes, because we've had them on the podcast. Yeah.
My brain, I was sitting, I'm like, I thought we had them on the podcast. I follow them on social media, and I'm like, oh, I like their stuff.
Dr. Hillary Rutledge.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm horrible with names.
Me
Great
too,
with
but I remember faces.
Yeah, see.
Yeah.
See, that's just my ancestral background, just kicking in. Like, you don't got to remember that name, just know that person.
That's true.
But, other thing, you talked about the wellness shop. You want to jump on your soapbox and talk about it a little bit?
So the reason why I found this store was because I went to this nutrition response testing doctor, and he basically was like, all the stuff in your house is shit, get rid of it. And I'm like, well, I can't go to Whole Foods because I can't afford it.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. What do I do? So I found this store, and my best friend and I both started shopping there. And we were like, okay, we're going to shop here no matter what. We need these products. They're, it's like a virtual Target without the throw pillows.
Okay.
It's like all the stuff you'd go to Target for.
Yeah.
Not a lot of food, mostly like home essential stuff. So we got like cleaners, vitamins, skincare, hair care, makeup, all sorts of snacks, whatever, that type of stuff. So we're like, okay, we're gonna come here, we're gonna shop here, and we're gonna get all our stuff here. We're gonna convert our houses over. And then they were like, by the way, you can make money by referring other people to this store. And I was like, I'm listening because I would like to leave nursing at some point, and nothing has ever worked out for me. So I'm like, all right, let me see how this works. So in my first month of I'm like, everybody needs a store. You need the store here. I'm like, I'm learning bleach is bad. This is terrible. I'm just sharing stuff on social media. I was today years old when I learned XYZ, and I'm sharing these products. Yeah. and the store as a whole. And I was like $200 shy in my first month of what I needed to make to leave my nursing job.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, it's on. It is on. So I slept, and breathed the store for the next 6 months. And then I left nursing in December of 2019. Right before the world exploded.
And before the fan got hit.
I really dodged a bullet there. And so I just was like, all right, well, this is my full-time job now. And I help people I educate people about the products and what's in their houses and alternatives and all of those things. And then I also, because I was so passionate about teaching people things that I didn't know as a nurse, I wasn't taught anything as a nurse in regards to functional health and what really our bodies do. So I was like digging down all these rabbit holes, and I would just share it all on the internet. And I'm like, come learn with me today. So I had a bunch of people, they were following me on social media, so they were like, I trust you. I was giving away vaccine exemption forms and where people could find ivermectin and all of these crazy things during COVID. And they were like, well, you helped me with that. I guess I'll buy my laundry soap from you. And I'm like, sweet. So we kind of took off there, and COVID really, really made our business exploded during COVID because people were waking up to the fact that our immune systems are trash. We need better supplementation. Even the food, you can eat whole foods, but the soil is depleted.
Yeah, so there's no
So like we need supplementation in our lives to be at optimal health. So I was teaching all of that type of stuff. And then I also help people to build referral businesses also. So that's my really big passion, is mentorship in business. But because of how I've branded myself on the internet, I don't get to talk about it a lot because everyone's like, you're a nurse, here's my rash. Can you help me with this? And I'm like, yeah, but I really would rather help you make money.
Yeah. Right. Well,
but I do it both.
Yeah. In my head, that like story is like Jordan the Stallion. Do you know who he is on TikTok? He's the same. His videos are just him being like, oh, look at what this is. In reality, he's like, I really just have silly jokes I want to tell people, but you guys want to know what kind of spider that was, or how to make the Cane's dipping sauce. I got you.
Yeah, I'll show you all of it. Yeah. But that's my main crux, is teaching people how to monetize their social media and make money. I haven't done anything with it, but I have a PDF on how to go viral on Instagram. Because I literally was like, well, this is what I did. I put it in Canva and made it pretty. And I'm like, I'll do something with it someday. I don't know.
Never mind. I had the word and then it just slipped my brain. So
went away.
Yep. Yes. Use ClickFunnels for it.
Yes.
Yeah. ClickFunnels is good. It's a good way to just bring everyone to where you want them to end up anyway.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on those back end pieces now because I'm like, wow, I have this whole audience of people. I should figure something out with this.
Right.
Instead of just videos. Because what we learned was, if you're not monetizing your social media, you're just popular.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't mind being popular, but I would like it to make me some money.
Helpful.
So I'm going to take that whole concept, except I have to figure out how to change it for a different genre. Because I know medical and all of that type of stuff. And so I started an Airbnb, my brain is short-circuiting.
Not the only one.
An Instagram page for our Airbnb that we put in our backyard. And I'm like, I want to grow this page, but I just haven't yet. So I'm like, I'm going to test this, make sure like I can do it on something else before I'm like, this will work for everyone.
So totally, similar to what you mentioned. Airbnb in your backyard, it's like a one bedroom?
It's an Airstream.
Okay.
Like the little
I know someone else that does that, yeah.
Silver campers.
Yeah, I know what Airstream.
We saw, so my husband is the guru of this. He's on unique stays in Airbnb. He's like, we have an Airbnb in New York, but it's like a snowmobiling cabin. It's cute, but it's nothing unique. So he was like, we need to only do unique stays. And I was like, great. So then he saw there's another person, I don't know who she is, but she has an Airstream in her backyard, kind of in our same area of town. And he goes, this thing's crushing it. We're going to buy one. Okay. So we bought one last February.
Okay.
And we just got it up and running in December. And that thing is booked like
booked and busy.
It's like 80. It's like my new full-time job. I'm like, I make
crazy.
beds. I make this bed every day and wash the sheets.
That's like, I forget like that's an option. It's like finding a unique stay. Like that's the reason why I use Airbnb. Like me and my friends went to Fayetteville for a comedy show, and I'm just like, this Airbnb I paid so much money for is so ratchet.
Some of them are, because
like,
people don't care.
Well, like you could see where they're like, oh, we're trying to give you internet, but they just drilled a hole in the corner and just ran cord through it. And like every door in the house had a no smoking sign on it because they didn't want people smoking inside. And like the shower was so small, but they didn't put like a glass up, so they still had a curtain. And it was a single person shower. So I'm just like,
you're like, hi, I'm touching both sides.
I'm like, hey, I'm 6 feet tall. How am I supposed to wash down on my legs area? That's not going to work. It would be perfect.
I was going to say, yeah, perfect size for me. Tyler sized.
But yeah, no.
But yeah, Airbnbs I think because it's so, everybody uses it now, in order to stand out, you have to do something wild and crazy. So we're also building a tree house in Asheville.
Oh, that's neat.
That's my husband. That's Matt. That's him.
I'm down for a tree house.
Well, it started out as a tree house, and then we had to build a bigger house, and the tree house has to be an ADU because it was an unrestricted piece of land except for this one piece.
Sounds right.
This one rule. I'm like, but we already bought it and cleared it, and I'm like, oh, here we go. So we're almost done with that, hopefully soon, and then we're going to breathe for a year, maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't start this tree house yet.
So you have to build a real house to then build a tree house?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So can it just be like a one bedroom?
It had a square footage requirement. Was the requirement. So it had to be a minimum of 1,200 square feet. And I'm like, this tree house is like 400 square feet. It's like a little hobbit house. Yeah. That's like cute, but it's going to have like a suspension bridge to a hot tub platform.
Oh, that's neat.
It's fancy.
It's going to be cool. So here's what we did. We found Airbnbs that were working well in other states, and we literally called them and we're like, can we buy your plans?
Smart.
And they sold us their plans because we're like, we're in one of them we built in North Carolina and one of them in New York, and they're like, you're not my competition and you're not even in the same area. Yeah. So they sold us their plans.
That's awesome.
So
Smart.
my lesson is like, just ask people and they'll probably give you stuff.
Yep. That's what we've learned.
And we didn't have to pay $15,000 for these plans that the guy
or trial and error
paid. Yeah. I'm like, oh, this works.
Yeah.
Here, I'll decorate it the same. This will be great.
So is that what you would tell your younger self if you had to tell him one thing?
Just go do it.
Yeah, just ask people.
Yes. I feel like I wasted a lot of my 20s worrying what other people thought about me and like doing things right. Now, somebody told me, I was just on a different podcast last week, and she was like, are you an Enneagram 8? And I was like, I don't know what any of those are. Maybe.
You should do it.
So she goes, I think you are. And I'm like, okay. So then I ask ChatGPT. I'm like, what is an Enneagram 8? And I was offended reading it. I'm like, that is me. Oh, my goodness.
Read you down.
And her point was, she goes, you don't give a shit about anything. And I was like, that's
accurate.
Valid.
Yes.
Valid. I don't care.
I haven't taken that since we all worked together.
I was going to say, yeah, it's probably been 7-8 years.
So I worked with a really great team for a while, and one of our coworkers, Brittany, was like, hey, we should all get to know what each other's thing is so we can work better together. And she convinced us to do the Enneagram. And I laughed because at the time I was a 9, I think. And then Brittany and Tyler, I felt bad because I was the outcast guy because I'm like, I'm new and I'm like over here by myself and everybody else is on the other side. And I'm like, I guess I should retake it because
it changes.
I'm also a lot more sassy than I used to be.
Today, the 8 was very accurate. I don't know if I want to go down this story.
Do it.
We'll do it anyway because I don't care.
Leaning into the 8. Let's go.
It all started because she was like, are you ever afraid of people that troll you on social media and all this stuff? And this is always my answer, which then prompts the story. I go, the FBI's been to my house. I really don't care about anything. Right.
I was asked to ask that question too.
Oh, well, here we go.
I'm so excited now.
So
Glad you brought it up.
Was it like more than one FBI agent, or was it like one guy?
it was one guy. It might have been two. I kind of blocked it out.
So I'm pretty sure it has to be more than one.
I think it was two.
Yeah.
They also went to my best friend's house, so I knew it was coming.
Oh. I just want to make sure they were
Got
real
tipped
agents.
off.
They were, well, so it all started because I was present and accounted for on January 6th in Washington, D.C., because I have such distrust in the media system that I was like, I have to go. That was me. I'm like, I have to go there.
Right.
And my husband was like, but by yourself? I'm like, well, I'm going to meet people there. So I'm only driving there by myself. He's like, oh, I can't even tell you to like carry. Like,
Right.
here, bring some mace with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I drive up to DC and we stayed at one of my friend's houses who lived walking distance to Capitol Hill.
Oh, wow.
So she was like, come stay at my house. And what I learned afterwards, which was really funny, was her husband was very, very left-leaning and on the complete opposite side of us. And he housed us all, fed us dinner, served us wine. I'm like, this is how America should be.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
like, that should be a true.
I'm like, this, I liked him even more after that. Cause I was like, you let us stay all in your house. My friends from Texas like brought guns because they just are on their body, I guess, the Texans. So
Just an extra appendage.
just an extra appendage. So I was like, that is really, really cool of him to let us all stay at his house. So we go to the, whatever you call it, rally event,
Gathering of
the gathering of people.
similarly minded people.
Yeah. Well, I felt like I was on Forrest Gump, is what it felt like. There was that many people there.
Wow.
The cell phones didn't work.
Yeah,
so
there's way too many
Too many
people.
people.
Way too many
almost,
people. And
yeah.
then, but we're all like down the rabbit hole and we're like, they turned the cell phone towers off because they don't want us to communicate. And then, but realistically, I'm like, there's 2 million people in this one city. They probably overloaded.
Right.
Yeah.
Just thinking. So we had like a rendezvous point where we're like, okay, if we get separated, we'll meet at this monument and like
Inside the rotunda.
we're gonna meet over here. So we go through. It was very peaceful. From my experience, it was very peaceful. And so then we get up to the back side of the Capitol building, and it was like a circus. Like, whoa, there is people everywhere. There was people literally like climbing up the back.
Yeah, I saw video of that.
And there was people on the top. They're like, you can use the stairs. They're around. Just go around. Use the stairs. But there was people climbing. But what I do remember was, and I didn't go over here, all the way to the right, there was scaffolding. And everybody said to me, don't go over there unless you have a gas mask. And I was like, who would bring a gas mask? That was not on my list of things that I thought I would need.
Someone.
Like, I wasn't aware. I don't know. That was not the type of rally I was going to. So I'm like, I'm going to go on this side
the
over
other
here.
side.
And so we went and we had walked past the Capitol in the beginning of the day. And I have pictures of both and videos of both. And the FBI didn't want to see any of my videos, which I found to be strange since they came to my house looking for evidence. And I'm like, I have some for
Here you
you.
go.
And they're like, not that kind. I'm like, okay.
Did you take anything out of offices? Is what they wanted.
Yeah, no, they were actually, when they were coming for me, they said that there was bombs still planted in the Capitol and they were looking for them.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't know.
Well, they're not in North Carolina.
I'm like, I don't know anything about that. But what I can tell you is I saw 2 men get in a verbal altercation because I'm pretty sure one of them threw a brick into the window, and that was the one window that got broken.
Yeah.
So I see a guy so everybody's wearing patriotic colors at this whole thing.
Cool.
Right.
Makes sense. We're all patriots. We're there. Red, white, and blue everywhere. But then there's a bunch of people that are wearing all black. And I'm like, y'all are suspicious. You don't match. I don't know what's going on with you. So a guy in all black and then a patriotic guy are arguing. And I wanted to be a journalist when I was younger, and I still get to do this. So I climbed up on like a I don't even know what it was, like a stone something. And I'm like recording. And they're like, don't get too involved. I'm like, I need to get this on footage. I'm going to get this. So I waited until I was like, I don't know, they might get into a physical fight. I better bounce. So I left. And then we all went home. They put the city on a 6 p.m. curfew. Mm-hmm. So it was like 3:45. Mm-hmm. We were like, all right, let's go back to Maria's house and eat empanadas and drink wine and have a sleepover. We're done with this. And then I just watched the TV literally do exactly what I knew what was going to happen. I was like, I was there. That didn't happen. Where did this come from? And I'm looking at all of this stuff on the TV from her house, like looking at it. I'm like, this is exactly why I came, because now I was there with my own eyeballs.
Right.
And that's why I wanted to leave nursing, so that I could go do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and not have to ask anyone, except for I did get a blessing from my husband. I was like, please. Please. And what he said was, he goes, you know what's really weird? All of you women are going up there and we're all staying home with the kids. This is a weird switch.
Yes.
And we were like, we have to go.
No, that's like, I keep telling my coworkers. They were like, oh, so-and-so was mad about this, blah, blah. And I'm like, there's 3 sides to every story. Mm-hmm. They're like, where'd you get that? I'm like, well, your side, their side, combine them, you get the truth.
And the truth, yep.
And they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not stupid. I know why this person said this, because I was there and saw their point of view. I saw that person's point of view. Just like if you're chilling at the Capitol, most of it was peaceful. And then there was a gang full of people that said, fuck this shit.
Yep. And then there was my best friend, who's even more, she's had her Facebook removed. She's on her 4th Facebook in 5 years. She took over her husband's Facebook for a solid 3 years because she's like, I need this for work. So you only look at Marketplace. I'm taking over your Facebook. So she was her husband's Facebook name forever. And they show up at her house, and with her, they were looking for evidence of who killed Ashley Babbitt. That was the one. They were like, do you know anything about who killed Ashley Babbitt? This is this girl. This is my best friend. This is why we get in trouble everywhere we go. She says to the FBI that's at her house while her husband is cleaning his AR in the other room. Just randomly, that's when they happen to show up, because that's our life. She goes, do you have TikTok? And he was like, what do you mean? She's like, it's all over TikTok. That's where you can find your information that you're looking for on TikTok.
Yeah, that's right.
And they were like, huh. So that's why I don't feel like I'm super outspoken, because I am next to that one for the last 23 years of my life.
You're like,
in comparison.
I'm pretty normal.
Yes.
We were talking about going viral and you being very open-minded about anything that you're thinking of. So the things that we found that goes viral for us. So I want to ask you this question. What's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh, don't even.
Really?
Sorry.
Oh. I want to have a conspiracy theory night.
You should.
That's
what your podcast should be
the
about.
The more people that I talk to, the more people are like, that sounds really fun. I'm like, this would be great.
My wife will be there.
Everybody comes, and you have to give your own presentation. So each person picks a topic.
Conspiracy theory.
I saw it on TikTok, and I thought it would be so fun.
I could see you doing it.
I'm like,
kind of like back when they used to do like the girls' nights, and every girl brought like a platter of drinks that they made, or charcuteries.
Charcuterie and conspiracy.
Yes. Can I tell you my favorite one?
Yes. And then that will let me think of which direction I want to go.
No. I figured you needed a second to think about this. All right. So there's multiple. I'm going to go for the PG version. Okay. That's not going to cause too much iteration and too much strife. I believe that glitter was actually created...
Way different vein than I'm going to go down.
So I have to go funny sometimes.
That's
so
good. I
think that glitter in general is used by the main government to track people and also protect from tracking. Because think about it. How many times do dudes leave the strip club with glitter on them? You can never get rid of the glitter.
No, I had glitter in my house until I moved. It's probably made its way in my vacuum cleaner to North Carolina.
There's a whole new thing on TikTok where girls are like, if you're going out to the club, just spray yourself with glitter, and guys aren't going to come hit on you if they have somebody to go home to, because they don't want to get covered in glitter. And I'm like, is this really why Bath and Body Works had glitter body sprays back in like the early 2000s?
Glitter body spray was so good. You sprayed in your hair.
I worked there when it was out. It was not cool.
Oh, that was good. And that's why we all have hormone issues.
Yeah.
Because we were all at Bath and Body Works. Dousing ourselves in cucumber melon.
Oh, such a good smell.
It was. But I'm like, oh, it smells like where all my hormone problems started.
Yeah. Sounds right.
Probably. All right, your turn.
So my turn. I'm going down a whole different road here. But I'm only gonna say this one because this was my first rabbit hole that I ever went down, and I was like, oh, everything I ever thought I knew was a lie. No, yes, but no. No, I got there afterwards. I really think that every single person in Hollywood is a complete pedophile, and they're all trafficking everyone, and is the whole underground cult, and it's everything that like is said where people are like, that's a little far-fetched. I'm like, no, I think it's exactly fetched all the way. And that was the first one I went down.
I mean, that doesn't seem like very conspiracy to me.
I was going to say, when you have like P. Diddy now and
Epstein. And we got
and
Epstein. But when I started going down those rabbit holes, people were... So I got a Twitter account in 2017 because my best friend...
Yeah.
That one. She was like, you have to watch this. I'm not going to be the only person that's watching Kanye West lose his mind in Africa on Twitter. Turn this on right now. I'm like, yes, ma'am. What are we watching? What's going on? And I watched that, and then I was like, wait a second. Is he telling the truth? So then I start going down. I have this whole playlist on YouTube that's called The Rabbit Hole, and like 90% of the videos are deleted.
Oh, interesting.
I'm like, I like go back to show somebody because they're like, oh, what about this video? And I'm like, well, it's gone. Suspiciously enough.
When was it deleted?
I don't know because I don't like monitor that thing all the time. So I'll like go back to find something. But most of the stuff, I remember I was doing a travel nursing assignment. So I had an hour drive to work and then an hour drive home. And then I would park off of campus because I was like, I'm not paying you to park in your parking garage to work for you. Right. No. So I would park it was like a 15-minute walk. So I had all this time. So I always had an earbud in and I'm like listening for 2 years. That was all I did was listen. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think I really need God. I need better find him because holy cow, this is too much for me. And I think that's when I started finding my faith and realized because I was like, devil's playground out here for real.
Yeah. That's also why a lot of them don't live in LA anymore.
Yeah. It's bad. And now it's mainstream, thankfully, to the Epstein and Diddy, but I was saying those things when it
way
wasn't.
Before, yeah.
People were like, you're nuts. I'm like, yeah, I might be, but.
Well, you know what they say, conspiracy theories are just
truth.
Yeah.
So wait, what's yours? You had her. You're not going to talk about like the fact how all the billionaires in the U.S. own like all these random farmlands and like the highest points.
It's true though.
In spots.
So a lot of my like conspiracy theory things that were conspiracies have like either become true. Yeah.
I'm just here to just poke.
Poke the bear.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, my conspiracy theory that I had before it became true was BlackRock buying all of the houses. I didn't know it was BlackRock at the time, but I knew it was private equity.
Yeah.
And I was like, see, this is the reason why, because these people moving out here. And so actually to go along with it, I think parts of it too is people won't help certain areas get either not gentrified necessarily, but rebuilt back up. So then they can come in, buy them for pennies on the dollar.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So explain why Flint still doesn't have clean water.
Well, I think they're waiting. Well, I was debating if I wanted to go down this because we're already past our time. Yeah. So I was like, how much time do we got? So actually, there is a conspiracy about that too, about how you can go in and basically, if you pay enough money to fix everything there, when the economics make sense, you can basically just buy the city. Yeah. So that's where that comes in.
That's insane.
Yeah. Because there's still some.
There's so many.
There's still some cities and counties that if you pay off, there's not many anymore. But if you just paid off someone's tax debt, you could take their house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So
I've seen that too.
So
is that not true in North Carolina?
Not North Carolina. I looked it up.
I was like, is that how you got an Airbnb?
I'm like, if that's true. No, we bought this lemon of an Airstream that we are cursing every day, but it's making us money. So I'm like, Matt, we're in the profit. It's fine. Okay. Everything's fine. But he's fizzing the toilet in there today.
You didn't put a bidet? You just put a regular toilet?
It has a camper toilet. Yeah, but it was leaking, and we're like, well, it can't leak into my yard, so we need to do something about this. So that's been his project today.
Then my last question, since Chris subtly stole my other one. And
it was such a good transition.
It was a great transition, and I give that to you. And mostly just to cause more havoc and chaos, is what's your best unpopular opinion?
Oh, well, I have a lot of unpopular opinions.
Which is probably how you got the...
Which is probably how I got here. But the one that I catch the most strife for, mostly on the internet, is that Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior.
Interesting.
And people don't like that. And then they unfollow me, announce their departure, send me nasty messages. And I'm like, oh, this is what he was talking about. Okay, I get it. Still gonna plug him though.
Right.
I'm like, I don't care, because I truly think too that all of the success that I've had, it has to be Jesus. There's no other way. Everybody else is getting thrown off the internet. I'm just growing. Like every single thing, I'm like, it's got to be him. I didn't do it. Right. I didn't give these people to me. So I just want to be a good steward of what I've been given. So I'm like, well, what kind of content are we going to talk about today?
Right. That's crazy too, though. That's probably one of the biggest things that people are unfollowing and
I lost
getting upset.
8,000 followers when I openly talked about Jesus on Instagram in like a 36-hour period.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All the things that you could possibly get banned for, you've never got banned for. And that's the thing that people are like, you know what? This is too far now.
This is too much. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Then you're not.
This is the most true
then.
thing that I'm going to say. So.
Yeah.
Broke it.
All right. Well,
that's our cue.
You want to know something? You and Lee are the only ones that have broke the camera. So
we've broken it multiple times.
Yeah, that's true. But recently.
Yes.
See, it's because I talked about Jesus. See?
Even the camera's
Jesus
getting
too.
That's right. And that's right when it turned off. You know what?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Internet.
Conspiracy.
I was going to say another conspiracy.
Anyways, thank you for coming on today.
This has been fun.
Sorry, that was all over the place, you guys.
That's how my brain works. Trump calls it the weave. And I'm like, that's how my brain operates. I'm like, yeah, we'll get back there.
It'll come back some point.
The weave.
I call it the pattern.
Pattern.
I mean,
pattern, if you're my daughter. That's how she pronounces it.
I love it. If people want to follow your craziness and fun at the same time, where can they find it?
Instagram and Facebook. I'm more fun on Instagram because the Facebook people make me not fun.
You're the uncensored nurse on
both.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Well,
thank you for coming on and
thanks
letting
for
us
having
take an hour and 10 minutes of your life on a Sunday.
No, that's fine. Just got to go finish my sourdough cinnamon buns.
Ooh.
Good luck.
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're better than sourdough sugar cookies.
I hope so.
And this is why I haven't gone down the sourdough route.
Bread, perfect. Other things, sometimes weird.
Why does it take 8 hours to make cinnamon buns?
Because it has to rise. It's like a whole rising thing, and the rising is what takes forever. Because it's naturally fermenting.
Oh.
It's the whole sourdough thing. I put active yeast in there to speed it up.
Cheat code.
There's some things in life.
Only for you people that have stayed this long on the podcast.
I'm just gonna let my friends do it, and I'm like, sure, I will reap the rewards. I'm not.
Well, next time I come, I'll bring you some sourdough cinnamon rolls.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Have a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers.